Welcome to this crazy time! Yes, Sun here again, joining our man Kenshiro for another Fisty Fiesta in Hokuto no Ken for the Genesis. While the SMS game covered many of the major story arcs leading up to the climactic battle with Rao, this game covers everything up to the end of the second TV series, and all but the last few concluding parts of the comics. Basically, you've got two main stories here, Ken vs. the Empire and Ken vs. Shura. If you've seen the second Fist of the North Star NES game, ably let's played by Frank-O-Matic, that concerns the Empire plot, so we'll be covering some of the same ground. Also, this game was released as a Genesis launch title in the US under the name Last Battle. In getting rid of the license, it wasn't changed nearly as much as Black Belt, but the characters were renamed and often recolored. So, now that we've got our obligatory background info squared away, let's go pop some Imperial Skulls. Okay, let's get booted up. Story, it's all in Japanese, but the long and short of it is, after fighting Rao, Kenshiro went off to live in peace with Yuria for a while. Yuria then died of radiation sickness, and in the meantime, it turns out an oppressive empire had taken over much of the world, and Kenshiro can't have that, so he goes to kick some ass in the name of all that is good and manly, as we know him to do. And we've got a tagline here that I can't read. Hokuto no Ken. Let's do this! Here's Kenshiro busting out of his jacket, as he is known to do, and walking. Ata indeed. So here's what the game looks like. And initially we're just going to be punching Imperial guys, and their heads are going to explode followed by the rest of them. Incidentally, in Last Battle, the US version of this game, people did not explode. Also, as I kill people, you will notice that the power meter at the bottom of the screen gradually fills. When it reaches one of those checkpoints along the way, Kenshiro will bust out of his jacket and become muscular and powerful. This is Bat. Yes, it's that kid from the first half of the overall story, with the car and the goggles. He's all grown up. Anyway, here's our map screen. You can choose where you want to go. It's not linear like the SMS game, or you can check your stats. Going to certain places and talking to certain people will boost your stats, and it's always a good idea. This is Bask, our first mini-boss. Bask was the first stage boss of the Nintendo game, and in the story he was just a regional Imperial governor, not a really important villain, just someone Kenshiro had to beat up to re-establish himself. That launching technique is the Kazan prison clenching claws. He would just grab people and spin around, but Kenshiro was too buff to spin around on, so he couldn't do it. That didn't make a whole lot of sense. Just watch the show sometime. It's good shit. And we're gonna go this way. There's nothing there we really need, but it'll open up a path that'll lead to a stat boost. And generally speaking, you want to boost your stats as much as possible, because this game gives you one life. When you die, it's over. Beating people up, blocking axes with my bare fist. Good times all around. Incidentally, I didn't have to fight Bask. A lot of the mini-bosses are optional, but they always give you a big boost to your power meter. So if you want to become buff and manly relatively early, which is always a good idea, it's a good idea to fight them as long as you have a good shot at beating them. This is Ein. Ein was a pretty major supporting good guy in the source material. He started out as a bounty hunter trying to kill Ken to get the Imperial bounty on him, but Bat talked some sense into him, and he became a good guy and one of Ken's best buddies throughout the series. Anyway, after talking to Ein, we can go to this village where there are no enemies, and just a conversation with some woman I don't recognize. I'm not sure who she is, but in any case, talking to her gives us a statistical boost in, I believe, defense. And again, since we only get one life, having good defense is always a wise idea. Also, as you saw, there is nothing in Bask's area now that we've killed him. We just quickly go back to the map. Anyway, heading this way, we will be thrust into another regular stage full of Imperial fodder to beat up on. I love catching people with the jump kick like that. It just looks very pretty. I love the way Ken can punch people in the shin and their head will still explode. But, you know, Hokuto Shinken is the fist of the plot device. It does whatever Kenshiro needs it to do at any point in the story. So, it does fit in with the source material. Killin'. I like me some killin'. And this is Lynn, the little girl from the previous stories. She too has grown up, and more importantly, she is going to give us a boost to our maximum life meter. And once again, due to the single life nature of this game, it's a good idea to always have as much health as you possibly can. Heading southward, we will get into our second mini-boss fight with Gaylor. You may recall Gaylor as the boss of the second stage on the Nintendo game. In the source material, he was another regional empire governor, though he does a lot of damage. He was a hypnotist who tried to hypnotize Ken with little spinny balls, and by breathing poisonous hallucinogenic gases at him. So this is really very close to the source material. Anyway, we're going to keep punching him at every given opportunity. And soon we will get to see his rather cool death animation. Blow! Splorch! Ha ha ha! And we get our power-up, which gives us our rapid-fire Hokuto Shinken punches and kicks, and also a much cooler-looking jump kick. In the source material, Gaylor was too fat to really move without assistance, and he complained all the time about how much of an effort breathing was. So Kenshiro, with his usual flair for ironic murders, made it so Gaylor didn't have to worry about that anymore. He touched a pressure point that caused Gaylor to lose the ability to exhale. He just couldn't breathe out at all anymore, and so he just kept inhaling until he ruptured. Oh, that Kenshiro. He's a card, isn't he? Very creative with his ironic murders. Moving right along. These guys, you know, they don't have names, so they don't deserve irony. They just get blown up. Heading north here, we will get another optional area, this being a labyrinth. The first of several. There will be at least one labyrinth in every chapter. And they are generally devoid of human enemies. They just have hazards like these boulders that can be avoided or deflected. They do have these doors that do contain human enemies. And you don't have to go in the doors, but by killing the Imperial thugs within them, you get a little bit of health back. And that is one of the very rare opportunities to actually get life back. So unless you really don't need it, it's usually a good idea. And we are now maxed out. Anyway, as I mentioned, I don't actually have to go into this labyrinth, although some of them are mandatory. However, there's a character to meet in here, and I'm being completionist, so why not? Completionist, that is, except for one mini-boss in the third chapter that I cannot beat. So I'll be skipping that guy, but I'll let you know about that when we get there. For now, we're just going to deal with swords from the ceiling by kicking them away. And generally working our way down and then to the left side of the bottom floor. One other thing, if you duck and jump in the dungeons, you can do a broader jump. For some reason, you cannot do the long jump anytime you're above ground. Because Kenshiro, I suppose, is weakened by sunlight. Little known fact. Onward and downward. Takes us down several floors, considering we're ultimately trying to go down. That's handy. Ha ha ha! Kenshiro is such a badass, even spears in the ceiling get out of his way. I think I need to go up here temporarily in order to ultimately proceed. Ouch. Damn it. Ah! Bad timing. Starting to run low on life, so I'm probably going to pause and stop soon, but I'll take it a little bit further. Do 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 do. Do 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 fire jets. Do 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 do. Do 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 ceiling crab. Do do. And we're going to meet our character at the end of the labyrinth in just a moment. But I don't know if I have enough time for that, so I'm going to stop here, and I'll see you in the next part of I Played a Thing, Hokuto no Ken for the Genesis. See you next time.